Alright, so this is part 2 of Crapganistand tour, or Soul City, partially. Um, I know I yapped in the last video a lot, 30 minutes, but, the lore of it is kind of important to the understanding and respect of the world. I mean, there are some historical aspects that I took into consideration, but not here at all. So this is known as Pickle City. I haven't put any interiors in the place, but pretty much it's like a dying city where they hold pickle connoisseur stuff and like pickle competitions or stuff. Um, and it's in disrepair. Uh, there used to be like a layer of water here. Not sure what happened to that though, but it connects the two sides, and it looks cool when you're passing by through the bridge, just because of these buildings here. But these over here are like the fishing shacks, so there are going to be holes in the bottom for them to fish out of and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much Pickle City. And this right here is a cool dragon, which was inspired from Die Rise, the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies map. This was made by Tamek. Really impressive, not gonna lie. The amount of detail that's on it. I should mention there's also a flopped up fish. There's also that building there, no interior yet, no idea what to do with it. There's that building there, no interior, however, it's a train station. So it looks cool. But in this video, we're going to cover more the historic district, and I guess this area in general. So this is the pickle, a nice little pickle here. And in the future, I'm going to build a big lily pad and like a frog half submerged, add on to the canal. But over here, this is Pickle Caverns. This is Pickle Caverns, what do you call it? Like harbor or boardwalk? There's going to be a little ice cream shop here. There's like Pickle Caverns, like the tours go on in there. This is the ticket office. So if anyone's ever been caving, when you go like to a place to cave, like most of the time, at least from my experience, they'll have like a little stairway that walks down into the cave, or maybe they'll have a place to descend pretty much into the cave. So that will be in the main building there. And then there's a little parking lot here, and there's I Visit Pickle Caverns photo shoot here. But I'll show y'all what Pickle Caverns are. So pretty much you go under here. It is endless pickles. And these are max placed. So this was made by the work of a madman. Nah, this was Tamek. So one day he decided to place all these pickles for an hour straight. He placed them row after row. Look how far this goes. That's a lot of pickles. Holy shit, that's a lot of pickles. So the reason why there's this space down here is because when I was copy and pasting some of the parts of the canal, I accidentally, took out way too much area back here. I'll deal with it. Yeah, that's great. And so there's this space down here, so Tamek just did that. So now we have Pickle Caverns, and that's why pickles are relevant and placed literally all over the interiors. But over here, we have the museum. I need to definitely restructure this because it looks really terrible. It's just brick with this stone brick stairs outside of it. It's not really good looking at all. And there's not really much going on inside. I mean, I should probably mention, as well. This is the Soul City flag, and this is the Crapganistand flag for the world. But there's really not much inside. There's a little top-down view of like all the important structures, like the never-ending tree. This is a Central Park, it's called. I'll cover that later. There's the arch, and like the museum isn't even on this map. It's like all the way over here. But over here, there's going to be like a whole display thing of like when it was established, you know, frog invasion, police set up a hitchhiker murders, you know, stuff like that. And there really isn't much upstairs either. There's a bunch of doohickeys, redstone doohickeys that Tamik made. Pretty much they're just supposed to be annoying. And they're really useless, but they look cool. And I think all I have over here is like, you know, the ITEL stuff, or all the computer parts, you know, moldy beans, all the shift phones. You know, sort of as a museum for all the items that are specially named. But over here, this skyscraper is pretty noticeable. So I did live in Florida for a certain amount of time, and I was really close to Miami. And so I did take note of some of the skyscrapers there. So this skyscraper was based off of Miami architecture. And I was trying to do the same with this one here. I just haven't gotten back into building this one as much. But they're going to have little balconies. And this whole area I'm trying to do as, I guess, more high-rise type buildings, skyscrapers, and Miami architecture at the same time. So yeah. And there's a little guy over here. Tamik built this little guy, and so I put a beach with him. A little beach here. There are a lot of frogs in the world, by the way, and there is no natural spawning, so I spawned in all these frogs. Then there is this church right here, and it doesn't really fit the theme of anything else. I made this for my story, or eventually in the future book I'll publish, known as Walking. And pretty much in one part of the book, there's a cult. And so this is their church. I needed some ideas. I needed a way to visualize the church better. So I decided to build in Minecraft. So we have it right here. And it's a pretty cool looking church. I mean, it's supposed to be a rundown church. So that's why it kind of has a little bit of that. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad of block vomit, but we'll say it's texturing. I don't do much texturing, so yeah. And over there, there's a cemetery for, you know, fictional characters like that pig over there that died in this world. And then there's a cemetery for actual people who've died in our life. And it's more so meant to honor them in online space. So I won't really cover that area. Aside from that. There's a little bunker here. Nothing really going on in there. But going back this way, we have a little thing, a little bit of graffiti here that says "Tear down the wall," which is a reference to the Berlin Wall of the 1980s. And this is supposedly Reagan. Tamik made this. Me personally, it kind of looks like Mr. Bean. Reagan smash. And it's weird. It's ominous because it looks at you. Like, it makes it seem like it's looking at you. But there's also this cat over here Tamik built. And it has what looks like a human face, so it's actually really cursed. So yeah. There's also I should mention the clock tower as well. There's one on top of the museum, and then the one to the side, and it's a reference to a meme, where the bus, like the little London British bus, crashes into the second tower, and it's like, "Your Majesty, another tower has been hit by a bus," or something like that. It references 9/11, but to be fair, in Afghanistan Remaster, we literally have the Twin Towers. So, alright. So going this way, this is the historic district. So over here, if anyone's from Boston or maybe Massachusetts, you might know this building. But this is the Boston Public Library. I was playing in Fallout 4. I was playing with a mod that allowed me to make the Boston Public Library a settlement. I was like really inspired by this because it's such a cool bit of architecture. I love how it looks, especially on the inside as well. So I decided to replicate it from Google search photos I found. And unfortunately, the interior does not fit over the exterior the way I have this laid out. Not even, the roof isn't even accurate either because it's just too small. However, like compared to the proportions of some of the other buildings here, it just would look off. I was doing it like based on how many windows were here on each side. So overall, the proportions they're good for the sides. That leads me to have to make it a command block teleport to the interior. And the interior is located somewhere else far away. This is what I have so far for the interior. And this is based off of the Fallout 4 version. So we have like a little light here, lion statue, and down here we'll go to the archives type section where there's going to be an even bigger archive of books. But aside from that, I haven't really gotten to the rest of this. So yeah. And we're going to go back here when it loads. And then another building we have here. Most of you probably don't know what it is or where it is from. It is the Herman Courthouse. So the Herman Courthouse here is from the town of Herman, a little German town in Missouri. And I visited there multiple times. I found it really cool looking, like the architecture of it. There's these domes here. There's a central dome as well. And I used these little pale oak fence gates to represent the trim of the windows. Because it's really hard to represent window trim, you know, the white window trim, in Minecraft without it being bulky like this. So this represents it pretty well. All I gotta do is just invert the block in one. One thing that I was really disappointed about this was that the domes, in order for the domes to look correct and be correct based on how they actually look, they have to be by 2 instead of by 3, which causes it to be off center. Same with this one right here. This one's also off center. It's just disappointing. It's like if only I could place it like directly in the middle of these 2 blocks, it would look so much better. But this was a cool building to build, and I haven't made an interior for it yet. Over here, hang. All right, back to the tour. Before I was interrupted again. So these buildings over here are from an old Minecraft world I made in survival, known as Renowned Survival. And sadly, the worlds do not exist today. They were lost on Xbox. But I wanted to recreate what I could remember of the architecture there, just to, I guess, honor the world, because it was a fun world to play on. So there's a little church here. Now, compared to the other builds here, they're not really that impressive, but it was cool to build them in survival and now in creative. And over here, I was basing this, I was going to make a little plaza here, so like the road's blocked off, just like Williamsburg. because I went to Colonial Williamsburg and I found the buildings here to be really cool. Like they had a whole, like, they had tables in the street here, and like they had multiple restaurants open, shops. Like, it was really cool. So that's in progress right now. And past this railroad, we have this massive build here. This is the largest build I've ever done, and it's still a work in progress. This is known as the Hall of Ancestors. This is my attempt at showing my entire ancestral genealogy history. So it's laid out like this. Pretty much each room here represents an ancestor of mine. And it'll have, like, maybe I'll add key text of their life, like poems that they might have written, articles they are, featured in, and hopefully this will serve to remind me about my past ancestors, but also remind, the future generations of my family, and future generations to come after that. It has this really cool design here. We got, all these are custom built, by the way. I did this all by hand. So each vine here is different, completely different. And then each floor is tiled to match a certain family's lifetime. Like this right here represents gardening, or I guess peace. This represents war, the chaos, the fog. This represents war as well, and bloodshed. This represents sailing, stuff like that. I only have one section completed, but pretty much in each room, not only do I represent the ancestors, but I represent the entire family history of that family, the main line of that family at least, in little pictorial type things, which is kind of abstract in a way, but I do add, background behind them as well. But that's pretty much all for this build here. And then, I guess next we'll go on the other side of the wall, since it is in the area. Don't mind the glitchy noises of the Elytra. I need to get a better mic anyways. So, over here is just a war zone pretty much. Me, typical gamer, and one of my other friends, we like to sometimes do PvP. And so, one time, typical gamer spawned in all this, all this powdered snow, and he'd hide in the snow with these boots. And so my other friend started blowing up all the snow with these respawn anchors, and even over here, destroying part of the wall, but that's alright. It pretty much left the entire land in fire. And so at the time, well, right now, I'm in a history class for my college. And so I was a little bit inspired by reading about World War I again, and I watched World War I movies, Always Quiet on the Western Front, and 1917, both pretty good World War II movies. And I felt inspired to make this, sort of like a battlefield, no man's land. So there's, bombed out ruins, and these little copper golems, they represent the soldiers pretty much. And there's all the, this is how it was. We had chest here, which had like our entire inventory here. These were our shulker boxes, like we'd prepare for each round of fighting. Sometimes we do potions, sometimes we didn't. This was my kit. Invisibility. I raised a dog army once. Then I had some frogs, just to mess around. And then I wanted to throw mixtapes in people's pockets, so I had Pickstep there and stuff like that. Over here, there's like a little bombed out church or building, and underneath it, actually, has a whole trench system. This is like the little quarters of a soldier there. And there's another one over here as well. But that session was so destructive that it even destroyed the top of this little tower, which we had some spectators looking on, because we built all of this area in one of our first PvP matches when we were building up to get an advantage. But there's also a little road here. There's a blown up car. You know, it gives a vibe to it. And so we'll use this as a little PvP map later on as well. Then there is the second map over here. So this is called the destroyed or bombed city. I copy and pasted different buildings from the main city. I placed them here and just blew them up with TNT, making them look really bombed out. This section used to be, it was going to be a zombie apocalypse type of thing, but after making the trenches, I'm like, I'm just going to make it the theme of war to show the destruction of it. So, and now we'll have PvP where we're combating in a ruined city. It'd be really cool, like, to ambush from certain areas. There's back alleyways and all. So that would be fun. But here is the original part. This was one of the other first buildings. And this was back when I was thinking of making this a zombie apocalypse type of area behind the wall. So we have this broken down factory and a little scout tower. And then we have this building here. This building here it was a Lego set. Well, not a Lego set, but I built it in Lego. And it was called the Last Archive. So it's this cool looking little building. Sadly, Lego doesn't really have books per se as items. So I used paintings instead because Lego did have painting pieces and they had little diamonds and stuff. And they even had this was the Nether portal from one of the Minecraft Lego sets, and they had flags as well. So I imagined this as the last archive in a zombie apocalypse. And this was a working elevator right here. Well, it worked when it was Lego, but it doesn't really anymore. But the back section right here, that didn't actually work, or it didn't exist in Lego, so I just expanded it to have this little library section. And so there's like beds here, a little computer area, hoard of loot, little robot thing, stuff like that. Well, that is all for this area. Since we're pretty short on video time right now, I will go over here to expand on it, and I will include the Central Park in this tour as well. So over here, this is Central Park. Pretty much you can build any figures you want, anything that doesn't fit the theme pretty much. So we have bread on a bed. We have the Duck Detective from a game I was playing. And then one of my friends wanted to make a little base inside of him, so there's a little bed and like glass and all. There's a little baby salmon here as well. There is Plymouth Rock. Oh yeah. So in Afghanistan Remastered, there was a Plymouth Rock, and this is the second one. Plymouth established Who Gives a Shit, and a second Plymouth. So yeah. Here are some builds that Tamik made. We got a little, what was it called? Psycho from Borderlands. And we have All right. And we have this monstrosity over here. It looks like it's supposed to be Steve, but with a baby face. Yeah. But it's in Central Park along with this never-ending tree that goes to world height. Oh, and then this over here was my attempt at making like a CD and cassette in Minecraft. But I didn't find it to be very good. Instead, I think I did better on this one, which was the jukebox, and then the newer music disc tiers. I guess for lore's sake, over here, um, there's a bunch of people being run over. So this was early in the world, where I just had one for some reason. One of my friends they put a bunch of NPCs here, and then they built a car running them over. I'm like, these are innocent people, and then they framed them by putting swords and cocaine here. So yeah, that's the story behind that. But we'll cover Tamek's district or Tamek's section, the more rural and country area. He has a certain style that you can see, which really differs from my own style because he uses dark oak, cobblestone, stone, and a lot of spruce as well. And he, unlike me, he actually gets the interior done um, on time, you could say. Meanwhile, I'm a little bit delayed in my interior making. But another thing Tamek made is this really cool looking tower with a fire at the top and a spiral. So that was cool as well. And that truck was cool. And those little back roads. Over here, you can notice that one of these houses, this one right here, does not fit in with the style. What does not fit in with the technique, building technique, I guess, because it's oak. And I built this little house here, and it's like tiny house guy, you know, sort of like people who like to live in tiny houses, and they have a little cute garage there. And there's Tamek's sideways house, and then he built this amazing looking castle thing, I guess manor in a way. And this time he never put an interior in it. So yeah. There's also a zoo over here. There's cats, a happy guest, and there's a little Yoda over here. Tamek built this early on. And I just decided to make a zoo around it. It's not completed. This zoo isn't, and I doubt it kind of will be. So that's that. And there's a little church he built as well. Looks kind of cool. His builds are definitely a lot more survival friendly. But that's all for this section here. And I guess I'll leave this section here for part 3.